But if
If
you
I'm
had
being
done
only-
what? Disciplinary action?
Yeah, so why would I be telling you about that arm of my business? Why? If I'm coming here to open up a retail store, why do I need to tell you about this?
Just need to give me all the documents that.
That pertains to what I'm coming here for.
But then the question is, why not?
Because in their mind, they're separate. I'm coming to you for a particular purpose. I want to open an account to do this business. That's it. This is the structure. And I tell you, I may be lending between these and money is moving. Remember, these don't cross over into each other. So sometimes when you see these people's, when you're looking at investors now, when you see their resume, they work to all different companies, or they say they founded different companies, but they keep them separate. They don't overlap. So my main purpose of coming here to you was just to talk about this business. Even though my resume have 5 and 6 things, my focus is this. I'm not talking about this because I'm not bringing this to you. I don't want you to judge me on this.
Okay.
I want this. This is what I'm bringing to you. Do you accept this or not? Now, of course, like you said, they had sanctions or penalties. Then, of course, the rest will be disclosed. But if you notice how when they present themselves, they tell you everything they've done, you know. But they're only going to present and give you detailed information on the business that is at hand.
They're interested in pursuing.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's, okay, so they open this business here, but they don't tell us about the mining business that they have, but the account that they have, and then they send us a transfer to transfer money.
Then you
As the
have
banker, you
as the
have to
banker.
have-
Then now you have, and that happens every day.
Yeah, then you have to go to the client and say, oh, you have this business,
Exactly.
but then
Because-
compliance says,
That's
"Hey,
right.
put it on the KYC."
Yeah, but then I could be. I didn't know, but yes, let me tell you what happened.
Absolutely.
That could be because this business here never mixed with this business, right?
Right.
But this person may need some money,
Fund.
funds urgently. They call their banker, they can't get it. We have some money over here. We need this money tomorrow or 2 days. So they're gonna break the rules for now and put a loan agreement between here and here. But you never heard about them.
Right.
And so here it is now. You said
The transfer can't go. 'cause
transfer
this
can't
company
go
of negative
because
news.
negative news. Because you come to find out this person is in an industry where in that country there's all kind of negative news. The way they treat their staff. Maybe there's some hint of bribery. They paid off someone to get the license.
Right.
Then you're looking at, oh, this was my A+ client over here. But now they dropped to something else over here. And remember now, one thing I need to tell you is that when you find information on a person or a company, print it. Because it disappears.
From the service fee.
Yes. So it could be negative today, and you go tomorrow,
You don't find
doesn't
out.
exist.
Was it even there in the search? Doing the search?
It goes. You take it down, it's gone.
Because they could report, right?
And it's gone.
I know they do it on YouTube. I know they do it on YouTube.
No, they tell you forbidden site.
Yeah.
Yes, it's forbidden. It's gone.
Oh, yeah,
So you have to print it. If you don't, it's gone. And you have to be you have to be wise as to how you research. It depends on how they uploaded it. You could just put in the person name, it pops up, and sometimes you don't even see it. It's the wording. And what language it into. So integration is when you pass through the first 2 stages and then it's out.
Good now.
It's good.
Good. Okay.
Yes. So when we speak about money laundering, you don't need the 3 stages. You don't have to say, okay, let me prove to the FIU that they did stage 1, then they did stage 2, then they did stage 3. You just have a suspicion that is one of those stages. A suspicion. That's it. And then you file with the FIU. So it says here that you have to consider the money laundering risk posed by your products and services. So let's go to her now. What product are you offering to this investor?
Oil.
Oil. Okay. So, what are the risks? The money laundering risks. Biggie, use your example on to this whole class.
Investor,
Is the structure similar to this?
No.
They're in rigging?
yes.
They're in rigging, right?
Yes.
So they must have rigs all over
Yes.
the world.
Yes.
Okay, so you got that?
Yeah.
So
For
these are
companies,
rigs.
right?
Companies
Yeah.
with oil rigs around the world. So have they opened an arm just for the Bahamas?
Yes.
Okay. So one of these is Jessica, we have it here. Let me do an oil rig. Okay? Now, what's the risk? From a country perspective. See my colleague in the back, she's gonna tell you why. Why?
Why is that risk?
Remember now, if you are in a bank,
Mhm.
you look at the risk posed to the company by offering that product. What are the money laundering risks? What do you see? If you're in a bank, securities firm, gaming, same thing. You have high rollers coming in. So high rollers coming in with what? $1 million, $2 million. What's the threshold in the Bahamas?
10,000.
15.
It's 15 now.
15. You see? So that's what you're looking at. Where did this money come from?
Right. But it's the
All right.
small.
So I have to
So,
think of what
She
risk-
she is looking at now with an investor. So risk.
And they're in a risk.
What's our source document to identifying the risk to this jurisdiction? And put it on the board.
What is that pad? Notification?
No. National.
Risk.
Assessment.
Assessment.
Okay.
The Bahamas has its national risk assessment, and in that document, they have stated what are the risks in this jurisdiction for money laundering. Where do they see the vulnerability is? So, she's offering a product. What was in here? I know. So, as a country, we're saying we're gonna give you permission to use your rig. So the first thing we have to do is we have to do due diligence on the company.
Yes. On my company.
You're the investor,
Yes.
your company.
On my company. To find out if it's legit.
No, hold on now. Who are you, the company or the government?
I am the company. I invested in oil. I want to invest in oil in,
Then here.
in the Bahamas.
We're gonna do due diligence on
On
you.
me, yes. So you want to find out if I'm a legit business.
Yes. We wanna know two things. We want to know, you established this here as a holding company, and then you have an operating company underneath, or is this an operating company under a holding company here?
It's an operating company underneath the holding company.
Okay, so now, all of us, we're the Bahamas. She's the investor.
Okay.
We're gonna do due diligence on her, the investor. So what's the first thing we need to know?
KYC.
Documents of incorporation. Documents of
It's gonna come to
incorporation.
our
The whole company.
Where was the company incorporated?
Okay.
KYC.
Change that word. Have any space? I can put the next half over here.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
You need to know this, this, and that. So, if I go back here, and we, us example, want to bring this company in to do this job, what are the risks?
That the beneficial owner is from a country that we cannot do business with.
There you go.
We can't take money from.
Mhm.
That, their source of funds.
Mm-hmm.
The source of funds is, the proceeds of crimes or some sort of, trade that is illegal or for whatever reason we can't accept those
Okay,
funds.
so let's start here first. What do we need to know about this person to mitigate against the risk of money laundering or terrorist financing? What do we need from this person?
Who they are, where
KYC.
they're from.
We need their KYC.
Yes.
So I put here KYC, passport, address verification, all of that. What else you want?
References.
Okay, what else? Is there any time limit on your reference?
3 months? Is it 3 months?
Uh-huh. And is there any
Bank
Time
reference and
period.
character reference.
time period on the referee? Or the referor? I could write her a reference. It's within 3 months, but I only just know her yesterday.
Must have known them for, what, 5 years? 3 years?
Each industry is different. You're in this industry now. How long does it take to do this job? How long does it take? Based upon, is this from the beginning to the end? Or this is just the location
This is from the beginning to
to
the
the end? So how long in this market does that take? 10 years? 5 years? You understand where I'm going? You need someone who can give you a reference based on a time period. Someone who knows that person, that they would have started on this rig until the oil pump out and it went where it needed to go. Otherwise, there's a risk. What's that risk?
It's fraudulent.
Mm-hmm. You start and never finish. Because she'll tell you, what's that word I used this morning?
Which word?
No, it's our word.
reliable.
No,
Reserve.
no,
Research.
you have to research the industry.
You
You
have to do
have to
you
know,
have to-
you have to
so
know
you
the
have to-
standards that are
So you
required.
have to also
But
know
then
your
this
industry.
document will tell you, your source document will
We have to
tell
know
you
the
that,
industry. Not you now.
No,
Right.
I have to know it
We-
too.
we-
I have to know it too if I can invest.
We can know if you know it.
right? Yeah.
invested in us. Us as a country, you will have to know the oil
Yes.
industry.
So you have to do your
And she
homework.
has to do her homework.
Okay.
Because she's investing in here.
She's presenting to us for investment.
Yes. She has to see whether or not this
Goodbye.
is feasible.
Okay.
In the
And
Bahamas.
she can make money.
And she can make money. We in turn have the same thing we have to look at. What's the risk of bringing this company in here? Like she's saying, we don't want them to start and run off, you know.
So completion is
Yes, it's key.
is key.
So that's similar to the incident where Leslie Melrose was trying to bring in when they was in power, when they was trying to do what the thing was called?
I remember them starting talking, I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
but like I said, it started and then it ended, you didn't hear any more about it.
Because they don't do, what's that word I use?
Research.
Research, and research
Due
leads to
diligence.
this,
Risk.
and then this.
Risk assessment.
Yes,
Market assessment as well.
all of that's in it.
So when she wants to open a company, the source document will detail what we have to do, right? What you need to know about the oil industry.
No,
You
No?
have
No.
to do your homework.
people do your homework.
So,
Okay,
You have to know.
okay. And then the reference to could be.
Okay, so here she's gonna do a character
And financial.
and a financial. You come in here to invest, right? Where's the country? We've already done our research, so we know how the business operates, which means we know that stage 1 is this. Stage 2 is this. We've done our homework. Stage 3, oil coming out the ground. You got me? Stage 4, going to refinery. Got it? Stage 5, this. We already know based on our research, that's 5 million, 10 million. This is 23 million. When we get here, say this 8 million. Just throwing out some figures. I want that's what I want.
Certified.
Net worth statement. I want that. Because I need to see if you don't have this kind of money, you need to tell me where you getting it from. Know why? Who can tell me why? There you go.
Financing by.
Ah, there you go. So if when I look at this, you don't have this, or even if you have it, I'm gonna ask you, how do you plan to fund this?
Through the.
Because they don't like to use their own money.
Through going to the bank financing.
No, they ain't got no bank. No bank lend you that kind of money.
Venture
They're
capitalists.
venture. There you go. That's the word. And you wanna know who they are. Because again, that's another threat.
Then you have to do KYC on the venture capitalists.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you do.
If they're like dragons, then they're okay.
Because the risk that the venture capital, where are we putting this down? Let me move a company. You see how it gets This is an interesting chapter here.
Yeah.
Yes, you go. So let's say funding venture capitalists, right? So you need to do KYC on all of them. Why? Because you have the threat of money laundering. Also, you have your corruption and you have bribery. So you don't want an individual from one of these being investigated by their home country and then it goes backwards, they going this way. This is where the money went.
What about your references?
Mm-hmm. Mean these ones here?
Not the financial reference.
Your
the
character and financial. Yeah. People lie.
Right,
They hold no weight. But you get them in here.
okay.
What I usually do is when this comes, these here,
search on them.
I research them too.
Okay.
I research them too.
Through Google. How do you research it through Google?
You do Google and then Word check.
And then
OFAC.
search.
And do the OFAC sanctions. Word check, Google, and OFAC. Looking for sanctions. See if they're on the hit list.
OFAC, Google, and
OFAC. You can go to the OFAC website and you can just key in the person's name and it'll run it through the system. Free of charge.
okay.
Because again, you're looking at all of the risk that going into business with this investor will have on our country. So you have to make sure everybody who's coming in, you put them through all
A
of the due
microscope.
diligence. Yes. So first thing is the person as an individual, and the second thing is whether or not, where's the money?
Their associations.
Yeah. Right, now, company, what you wanna know for the company?
The owners are the directors.
No, that's over there. You can get your corporate documents, remember?
Yes, sir.
What you getting? The
M&A.
M&A,
M&A,
Good
Uh-huh.
standing.
good standing,
Resolution.
Certificate of incorporation.
Certificate, all that
but
stuff.
good
Uh-huh.
standings normally come a year later, doesn't it?
it depends if it's new.
If it's new.
If it's new,
Right,
Certificate of incumbency.
that ain't new.
that old one, okay, good.
Yeah, you get a certificate of incumbency,
And a resolution.
What is the certificate of incumbency about?
that's a document written by the secretary of the company,
Saying what?
saying the names of the directors and officers, that they paid all their licensing fees, yeah, and they paid all of, that's all it's saying.
It just means you said that they're in good standing.
Yeah, with all of their requirements. This one here,
It's from the.
this one is from the registrar of
Let
companies.
me ask
All
you
the
about,
fees
that's an
and stuff.
annual renewal?
What?
The certificate of good standing.
No, it's by request.
And how
Okay.
good is, how
You
long is
want
it
it.
good for?
It's when you
Okay,
want, it's one, it's
I don't know
at that point in
if that's
time.
the one from
So,
us.
oh, it's only at a
Yeah,
point in
but
time,
it's
so you can
a-
get
it's a
several
state
in a year?
company, there's one there
If you,
from
if you doing different,
2017.
if you
So I just did
sending
the-
out different applications around, you'll be, you can't copy the same one.
Oh,
Okay.
you can't copy the same one?
No, because I want it as at yesterday's date. Why I want something that you got 3 months ago? I want it now.
What? So they don't have no life, no duration?
No, what duration?
I mean, in terms of,
When you,
How
when you
long
do,
longevity?
if you come in to do business now,
Yeah.
I want all of this now, new,
Yeah.
current,
okay.
because things could have happened in
So it's as
between.
at just like financial statements as at
Yes,
this
now,
stage?
I want it now.
Okay. Okay, you so big.
So it'll be a good standard.
Yeah, but I'm, yeah.
Stay
And
strong.
you wanna do what type of thing?
I'll give you a very good example.
Okay.
A client gave a certificate of good standing and certificate of incumbency for dated.
16.
No,
Older than that.
no,
But then when it comes to
December
incorporated-
1st or 10th.
What?
So it's new, right?
Brand new. Oh, which day?
It's application
2011.
18,
Uh-huh.
18.
18.
2018, December
Application
1st, 2018.
between the 1st and the 10th, 2018. This is a new application.
Okay.
Did the research, guess what I find out?
What you did?
They fraud that.
The company is inactive. They already filed their documents to be an active company. Between then and now. But you still pursuing to open an account. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they so
Yo, I want it
deceptive.
now.
Current.
I want it today. I give you plenty of things so you can get a raise, right?
Yes, Mom. I need one.
What else you want here?
Corporate.
Hmm?
Corporation,
Big resolution.
we need
Yeah, you
resolution.
need a resolution if you open an account to open.
Yeah, but she's an investor. She's not opening the account now.
Okay.
She's
They
coming to
have
us to do some
to-
business
okay,
with us,
yeah.
so I want to see this.
Financial and tax re-
Tax return.
I want to see his
Financial
tax
statement?
return and I want to see the audited statement for his group. I want this. You know why I want this? Because I want to see where he did all of his other jobs.
Qualifications.
His qualifications and where he did his other jobs and who he partnered with.
And what was the outcome, whether there was
Yes,
any
then you go on to
bankruptcy,
Google
whether
and you
there
look to
was any
see
corruption.
so and so rig or whatever it is and see if there's any negative news.
This is an interesting job. What I
Invited the class, we just had the first class. Huh?
You
She
did
could do
it
it.
in our last year?
I never did it. This is my first time at BIFS.
Okay.
Oh, sound like she need to join the class, eh?
They work well together.
Okay, you enjoying it?
No, the first class was good. Better than I thought.
Just to throw that in here.
My only thing is all these acts. Like,
Could you get your head around it?
They've been
you
amended.
gotta
It
know
comes-
where to
it comes
go
over
for what
time.
you're looking for.
That's the
You
key
know,
thing.
that's the
You have to
key.
know where to go.
Yes.
You don't have to know it, you just have to know
You have to
where
know where
to
to
go.
That's the thing.
And if you start to write it down now and map it out,
It'll become easier.
it'll be your guiding tool,
Mhm.
and you always use it.
Mhm.
You just have to map it out.
Yeah.
All right, so what else we need? Anything else? Over here.
Let me ask you a question. When do share
Something is in front of
certificates
you.
and stuff like that come into play?
If they have it, but you're missing some stuff. So you hit on it. You don't want to see the share certificate. When would you need to see the share certificate?
But aren't we, when we find out who the directors and shareholders are, don't we need to know how many shares they have?
Mm-hmm.
So we need a register of directors.
There you go. You want the register of members,
And directors and
and
officers.
then you want the register of directors
And share
and
register of shareholders.
officers. No, register of members is the shareholders.
Okay.
It's members or shareholders. Depends on whether or not it's an IBC, or it's a company, or it's by guarantee. Because if it's by guarantee, you call them members
Okay.
and not shareholders. So you have this, and you have this. Now, where are they from? Which jurisdiction are they from?
My company?
Yeah.
Stay Venezuela, but you know where I'm gonna come on.
Hey,
Where are you coming from?
It's
Where am I
your-
coming from?
Huh?
It's that one right now.
Malta? Okay.
Nigeria.
Oh, Nigeria? Yeah, Nigeria.
They crooked, no man, they crooked. You all did that, that's good.
Africans.
Did you see how they labeling people?
That's, no, they crooked. They even tell you they crooked.
So you don't want your company open here?
I don't want my company to come from Nigeria because then there's so much sanctions against me already.
Well, top oil.
Malta is the same favorite.
I want you to notice when you read the chapter that Emirates has donated millions of dollars towards the fight.
Who's that?
really?
Emirates.
Okay.
What I keep telling you. Small fry, set small, any corner, be quiet. Okay. Don't follow what people do. Now, when you get this document here, and you get this document here,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna tell you who's the registered agent.
Yes.
So you have to go and look that one up too. Because sometimes it's a trust company, or it's a financial corporate service provider who's a registered agent, or it could be a law firm who has a license to be a corporate service provider. Now, when you get this document here, or this document here, and you see a company, these two here, I put asterisk here. If you see a company, then you have to go behind.
Find out the names of the directors and the beneficial owners.
Owner of those companies and what they do.
My God, it's a lot of work.
Yes, it is.
But that's how you get a job.
Mm-hmm. This is the job now.
Who does this in government, ma'am? Who does this in the government office?
Y'all don't come to school.
I beg your pardon?
They don't come to school. I can't tell you.
They don't come to school? So who's teaching them?
Whatever about the good.
I have people from the AG's office. but that's about it. Bankers, lawyers, assistants to the lawyers, gaming, credit union, money transfer business, trust. No, I don't see them.
What's their
You
job
do that
title?
training in-house.
Maybe,
That's it.
let's hope
Yeah.
so.
What's what?
What's their job title?
Who?
The people who do this work.
Some are just entering the field. What do you mean, those who are actually in it?
Yes, ma'am.
Compliance officers.
Compliance officers. Okay. And they offer a course in compliance here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
18 months.
How steep?
6,000.
6.5?
It's gone up now, the
Yes,
500
it's up.
dollars?
How much do you get at the end?
An international certification.
An international certification.
That's what she's pursuing. Yes, ma'am.
Good stuff.
I did that for credit risk too.
She did a certification in risk management.
Sounds good.
But I don't see a lot of the government people coming.
And
And that's why
compliance
I
is
get more
it's an
money out.
emerging area.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah, everybody, like, even like the gaming, everybody need compliance officers.
Did you saw the girl in there from gaming?
Yes.
She's trying to figure out how, she said the clients are pushing back when they ask them for KYC, then they bring in a lot of money and they don't wanna give it. But if I don't know who you are, I don't know where your money came from.
Yeah.
Not
they have
just
to do
because
it.
we're in that business, mean I'm just gonna take your money,
Yeah, they have to do it.
and they have to do it.
So this is how you care if your compliance costs,
The AML, yeah.
not this, not this.
This
one.
is
This the law, this for the law,
That's what it
that's to assist on the law, that's.
is.
But they all come together.
They do tie together.
Okay.
Yeah, they tie together. Alright, so if it is a company, then you need to find out who is the beneficial owner and who are the directors and officers. Here, for the registered members, you get the KYC on the shareholders, over 10%.
Which one's it
Here, for the actual company.
Show you it.
for the directors?
Yeah, when you read the certificate of incumbency or you read this, you have to research them too. Who they are and what they do, where they're from. It's a web. Yeah? KYC on them too.
That's the KYC on everything.
KYC on them. And because they're going into this and this is a project,
Business.
how they intend to carry this from stage 1 to 5, the environmental assessment, and then you want a projection. And this projection is based on how these stages will operate. Are these people being paid monthly, weekly, quarterly? Because you need to see where, what you looking for here? Cash flow.
I saw something that said, I was looking for an investor at work, and they were saying they need is it a comprehensive cash flow or
Yes,
in
it's a
the
cash flow.
laws? And I was wondering what's so different from a regular cash flow as compared to is,
Because a regular cash flow is at a point in time. So if you look at a company's audited financial statements or quarterly, more see than the audited, they give you the cash flow for the whole year.
okay,
It's at the point in time. When you want this one, you want it, how are you going to fund this?
and you wanna see projections?
Yes. Because you should be able to look at how much they're worth, how much the company makes as a group, and whether or not they're gonna be able to meet those obligations. So if you close your eyes, then you're back at the end of the day when you would have read it and someone look at the numbers and say, guess what? You should have seen in year 3, they needed to find 10 million. They don't have the resources for it. So everything's stopped. So now let's go to the,
How about auditors? Do you need auditors?
oh,
But you have an audited financial.
you have audited financials, they must have auditors as a group.
Making sure.
For something like this, you don't want an investor who doesn't have a good reputation. One who's never done this type of work before in this type, I wouldn't say region, but wherever the oil is, they must have done it before. Because from a country perspective, you don't want to take that risk for them to start stage 1 and find out, oops.
Police.
Hold on one second.
So who was the bank that dealing with the Canadian?
Lord Barbara, Eduardo, he had asked, Bonnie, yesterday about the requirements to open up a trust, like which incorporation.
Okay.
And she had said it's like because it all depends on the Google
Well, that's why it's the free zone, the this zone, the economic zone, the financial zone. The licenses are all different. Yeah, so that we do like more than, you know, the regular process that we doing. It's the process for the free zone. It's the process for financial.
Maybe Canada did
Yeah, cause I'm like, I could be all over the place with this.
How's yours going?
I started to do Mauritius, but I have to talk to, I can talk to, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more familiar with, the Bahamian process because I've incorporated 4 companies thus far since I started working
Mm-hmm.
last November, so I can help you all with y'all.
Okay with it.
But I need the solution right now.
I can help you
You
with.
doing that for work?
Yes. They sent an email out and I said to begin the process. I'm like, okay. Where is that your number?
She never gave us a number.
No, but I read,
He's not
helping me out.
The Gazette.
His style is, you have the tools, he don't spoon feed you.
And
He
neither is
sends
my boss.
instructions and you gotta go figure out what you need to do.
Who that?
Your boss, right?
My other boss, the leader. He's located in Miami. So whenever he needs stuff, he just sends them. Like I've done the incumbency certificate, I've done proxies, stuff like that already, like just kind of figuring, but like the dissolution, I'm like, okay, just a little research, like. And he's like, go to the registrar and find out what you need to do, and I'm like, I don't think I need to go down there to find that out, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Go to it's your first time
Go to
doing
the
it.
act.
Nobody
Yes,
has, there's none on file from an old file?
And then Tonika has never done that one.
No?
I had to, I mean, you're in the same position because I found myself doing a dissolution when I reached in November. One of the companies wanted to do a dissolution and I was just like, go to the ARC.
Oh, she went to-
Yeah, cause my only issue was start with
Go to
start with
the
the approval from head office, get your liquidator and process, all of that stuff. And then take all those documents to the registrar. This is my dissolution, you're getting off call.
Anyhow, let's go. So, we're doing all of this, all of these checks
Before we agree.
before we agree. Before we sign
How long?
any preliminary document.
How long do you presume that something like this would take before?
Is you one? It's just you one?
My husband too.
So you could be like a director or something.
Yeah, like a director. So,
Now you on the flip side, right? You're the one doing all the research and stuff.
no, I'm the investor.
So you wanna know how long this could take and where the government?
Yes, ma'am. Because time is money and money is time.
Oh, no. We are more concerned than that.
How long
It
would
depends
take?
on how complicated the structure is and how
It's
far
not
we
that
have to go.
complicated, it's not that complicated at first, it's just, oil rigs. It's oil rigs initially, platforms, and then
There's nothing
There's upstream
hidden
and
behind here.
there's upstreams and downstreams, there's nothing hidden.
And how many years they've been in business?
We're just starting out.
Oh, yeah.
No, stop. I know you can make it.
You all ain't even again.
They go based on how many companies you've had. But
How
it's
many
very
jobs have you
successful.
had then?
Right.
I've had some jobs.
Is
Rejected.
this the biggest one?
Come to the
This the
Bahama.
first
This
one?
is the first one of this magnitude.
Jesus, God.
And who are you venturing with? You doing it solo?
This all you and
Venture
your husband?
capitalists
In the same business?
and the same business, some investors, some big name investors.
Are any of them from next door?
Bahama?
No, we're Bahama,
Where's next?
Nigeria.
Oh, Cuba?
Venezuela?
Next door, where y'all like to go
I
every
said
holiday?
Miami.
Miami?
I said
Oh.
Miami.
Miami,
Uh-huh.
Florida.
mainly from Canada.
This is really a complex structure here going on.
Put it over oil.
Texas then, say
Some
Texas.
investors, they have expertise, they have marketing expertise and stuff like that.
Marketing?
To do with oil.
No.
No, seriously, they know about oil. I just went to what you call it, an arbitration conference, and in one of the speakers
Yeah,
were
yeah.
from Canada. Yeah, they're from Canada.
Yeah.
And they deal with oil and marine, and
Where?
Canada?
they deal with drafting agreements and stuff like that.
Where?
In Canada.
Yeah, but where's this oil they drilling?
Where?
Before, yes, these are, you see what I'm saying? The investors from that jurisdiction, where did they invest before?
Texas.
They have to have
Beware,
Texas.
some wicked, crooked people.
beware. And you watch those movies, and everybody has a mask on, and then when they take it off, they all the same.
Are you talking about like Matrix?
Beware.
So what's the safe haven investment?
It's not a safe haven. You have to do your due diligence, and you have to be cognizant of the big players in the market. Who's the movers and shakers in that industry? They're the ones that pull the string.
Right.
There's nothing you do here that's a secret. So if we know, based upon our research, that yes, it's there. What? No, not there. No, we know it is there. We know it is accessible. We know how many barrels can come out. We know how long it is before it dries up. Trust me, they're there.
If I know, would you tell me if I know, then somebody else know as well?
The people who you have as
Doing
your
business with.
yes,
They know as
and they
well.
have ulterior motives. And we, on this side, we gotta figure out what
them-
your motives are.
Pure.
And the people behind you. Because you ain't gonna tell me. Because you looking at your bottom line. But we need to know when we sign that document, who's behind the mask. You see how dangerous this is?
Yes.
If you do not do your
Due
due
diligence.
diligence.
So do my due diligence
You have to do
before,
your due
before I
diligence.
go into
Mhm.
business.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Because when you put your hand in the hole, not one crab come out, couples.
And they can
Snake.
try hold it down.
Oh no, they changed the rules on you.
And then if you don't have the resources, but they do, then automatically there's gonna be an issue with you being able to get certain
Then
information.
they can take over your business like how they did with
Ah! Call my name. I can help you,
Mama. And they can
but
take
I know you can't finish it. And then guess what? You can't finish it.
So
I
it
know,
become
you fall in the
mine.
trap. It's mine.
It's
Yeah.
mine.
Okay.
Too late. All you
And then we on this side, all we can see was ching ching ching.
Yeah.
Store number one, store number two, store number three, and it never finished. You didn't see the bigger picture.
Right.
So start off
Because
small.
this was not done.
So start off small. So we start off small.
So maybe
think
the
it's
oil
just a
company.
Start off small.
Yes.
It's not that complex of a structure anymore.
It's like this. I always build 3-bedroom houses.
Okay.
And I know her, and she said there's a big deal coming up. The bill of 50 condominiums, sky-rise out west. So she gave me the contract, but I never been in that.
Nothing.
I never even worked on the site to see someone do it. How's it gonna happen?
You know how to build a 3-bedroom?
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? You may not have actually done it, but if you'd worked on a team and did it, one thing. Step 2, did you lead it? Because being the worker and being the leader, watching it from start to finish and how it's done, is 2 different things.
Okay, like when I was in school, right? We at my university, they had a business club, and it was like we invited venture capitalists in on a regular basis, and they would tell us about business, and they would tell us that the key thing about doing business is not being the smartest one yourself, but having access to those brilliant minds and having the resources to bring them in and to make them a team. And they said,
the key- and the
and
key
they
to
said
that
that's how they
Right.
flourished.
But the
in
key to that
business.
is what? Never ask a question you don't have the answer to. Because the resources you bring in can still lead you down the wrong road. You must have the answers. You must know. You have to have the answers. So that at the end of the day then, we, on this side, what do we hope to gain from this?
Profit.
Profit for one, profit for some, or
Profit
profit
for
for
all.
all. So before this start, we have to put legislation in place. Have to. What are we getting out of the deal? Not just me, we.
Is it a win-win situation?
It is. For a lot of countries. A lot of countries in the Baltic state, they move from being poor, everybody's rich. But it's how you structure it. Again, Like I say, there are lessons out there if you do your research. You can find a lot of different countries with the same thing. What did they do? What were their experiences? What were their difficulties? How do we do this whereby everybody benefit? How do we control the players that come in? Which means taking off the mask and seeing who's behind. If you're not out there to hear who's looking for more, who's trying to control, and we're so close, trust me, they're not gonna let people from all the way past there come here to take that. Won't happen. Then plenty today.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's go. So we do all of this because of the threat of money laundering and the financing of terrorism and proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, because you really don't know what your clients are into. You don't know how they made their money. And a lot of money laundering have to do with having a legitimate business but an illegitimate business behind it. So the Proceeds of Crime Act says, Section 9, concealing. A person commits an offense of money laundering if acting with knowledge or reasonable suspicion. You conceal the proceeds, you disguise it, you convert it, you transfer it, or you remove it. All of those words. So, if the funding for this doesn't make sense from what you see here and here, then it should raise a suspicion. They're doing one of these things: concealing it, disguising it, converting it, transfer it, or sometimes depends on how it moves, they take it right back out. They bring it in, then they come and they get a loan here, and then the money they brought in first, they take it back out. And so what they use is your own money. That's why I say you never ask. Every time you ask a question, you must have an answer to it. So if you look at it and you don't see there's sufficient money, your mind is, where is this money coming from? How much of it is staying here? Who is investing in this? Now if it's more of our own people investing, even though it be just the elite getting richer, you know the money is here. But if you get them, a certain percentage of their own have to come. First thing they can say is you don't have the expertise. Y'all do taxi business and the construction, you don't have the foot. You see what I'm saying? Whereby we on this side need to say, let's call all of our people who work overseas
And
in
call
this
them at
business,
home.
they're out there, and you call them home.
I met someone
You see?
who works.
You call them home, put ads in the paper, send it out.
I met someone who does marine type work on a ship.
We have many of them.
And in the US, I was sitting out by Scotia downtown,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, "You look like a Bahamian, but you look American too." And he said, "I am a Bahamian," and he pulled out his card and he was like, "This is my card. This is what I'm into."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Okay, thank you for the card."
Yeah. Because remember now, we have a lot of people out there in the fishing industry. You can imagine they could take that skill of being underneath the water to know how to do this. Think about it. Me, you ain't going in the bottom of the water. But they have that skill, that's in them.
And he
So they're
inspects-
trainable.
He inspects the big ships.
So my whole thing is now on this side, how are you going to train my people? Even though you may say for stage one, even if you say for stage one, this is like a one-shot deal. Like say you planting a tree. I don't need you to dig the hole, that's it. But give my people that skill. So they can get a job somewhere else.
Empower the community.
Yes. That's what you have to do. 10. Arrangement concerning proceeds of crime. It's an offense, is committed of money laundering if the person knows, suspects, or ought to reasonably have known or suspected that he has entered or is entering into an arrangement which facilitates, by whatever means, the acquisition, the retention, use, concealment, or the control of proceeds of crime by or on behalf of another person. So if any one of these people here, these shareholders, if there is any negative news on them, any suspicion of bribery or corruption, it'll be an offense if you do business with them.
That's what our laws say.
But they would have to be charged.
Yeah, but,
I sit by compliance and I overhear a lot of stuff, conversations.
mhm,
And I know they had a situation where, a customer with an account that had been arrested, I'm not sure what country it's from, an MLR was like, well, how do we have an account with a person who's been arrested 3 times? And the compliance director was saying, but he's never actually been charged.
Exactly.
You know, so
Mhm.
that's very eavesdropping on.
yeah,
That's some good eavesdrop.
Yeah, you know.
but from your standpoint, it would be the reputation of
It's
the
a reputation,
jurisdiction.
yeah,
It's a reputational risk for you too,
right.
but it's smaller
yeah,
compared to this one.
yeah.
It's a reputational risk. So you have to consider that too.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I say, when you go on blogs, if they've done jobs before, it'll be similar like when you read the Punch.
Okay.
It'll tell you how they deal with the locals,
How they treat them.
how they treat them.
What kind of investments they did locally,
Mhm.
That's good.
yeah,
You want
So
to hear?
you need all of that.
yeah.
Cause I read one where this fellow has clean and it stumbled across some blogs. And it said the land that the government gave him to work on, apparently it bordered on and part of it was a part of an indigenous land. He tell them,
Keep you all, yeah.
no, he tell people, don't
Don't
step
come
foot
on
on
the
this.
land.
The
Don't come on the
government gave me
land.
this, I don't care what it is, they demonstrated. They demonstrated, he cannot own this land, he tell them, get from me off this line. They said, this is indigenous land.
Right.
You don't talk to people like that, and they had the video.
Oh no.
And then you know what it went to? That he bribed the government to get that because there was a lot of resources in that land.
Okay.
You can't take that out of someone's, that already there.
Yeah,
Whenever I see you, that's how you act with
Yeah.
natives.
yeah.
And remember now, when I give a bribe doesn't have to mean I give you, I got these seconds to be here on the table. You built a school. $10 million. It's perfect.
So, question,
Yeah,
what's going on with that stadium then?
A little bit different.
That's
That's a little bit different.
Oh, is
You
it
know why?
different? Why is it different?
It's a,
Concession?
no. This is their, I forget the term we use it. This is a part of that country's policy, wherever they do business.
They give a gift?
They give them a gift, I think it's a
Every
gift.
So
country,
it's
it's not a
culture.
one-off.
So it's a
It's a
culture.
cultural thing.
Right, so
So
that's
that's
what
in
it is.
other
one.
Caribbean countries too.
In South
Yeah.
America, in Africa,
And
they
you
do the
all
same
chose
thing.
which gift y'all wanted.
You choose
We could
which
do a
one you want.
stadium,
Right.
we could do your hospital, we
Yeah.
could do whatever.
Uh-huh.
I should have
We
choose
pick a
those.
They should
Hey,
choose
they
a
pick a
hospital.
stadium.
I don't spend it nice.
But there are more opportunities to come.
I'm
Sure, 'cause they all live here.
Yeah, there are more opportunities to come. As they want more things, as a concession, they give you things.
So that's bribery.
Not in their culture, no.
In our culture.
There's no money
yes.
moving because what they do is for the welfare of all.
But then that's,
Not one.
yeah, but
That's
the
weird.
school wasn't money moving either.
No,
You see, so it's.
But it was like
perception
one off though.
Yeah, it was
That's
one-off.
one off.
they do this every country they go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it look
And
good.
remember that their money belongs to all. When they do it on behalf of the people. Their people. To this people.
Yeah.
Right.
You get it?
Yeah.
One school
But
and
you
then
did
one
but you
school.
did this as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
Right after you sign your B contract.
Yeah.
Problem.
So it's
That's
a
a funny
problem.
little
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it's a
That's,
difference.
Yeah.
that's
Every-
technicalities. That's
No,
all.
it's perception.
That's-
I would say.
okay.
Everything is perception.
Mm-hmm.
Scratch for scratch. You scratch my back. I
Yeah, but it's a
scratch yours.
perception because we know that's their concept. Get it? So that's the same thing when you see those other people. It's perception. What do they want? They're not just investing for investing's sake. It's to take control.
Yeah.
And if you're not wise enough to see it, you
Gone.
wake up in the morning and it's
Okay.
gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. Mm-hmm. 3 ancillary offenses. Failure to disclose. You have a duty to disclose. No matter which profession you're in, you have a duty to disclose. So even if you and what you're doing, you sense that there is money laundering, one of these persons are doing in here, one of these shareholders or the company, and you feel that the funds are gonna come in for this investment, it's the proceeds of crime, you have a duty to report it.
Knowledge is, ignorance is.
Bliss. And then of course, you notice with the new legislation, you're trying to encourage every type of organization to have some type of compliance officer. Someone who has an open eye and a keen eye to look for suspicion, reasonably.
That's emerging industry.
Yes,
That's
I
not it.
agree, I agree.
Like one of the students asked me this morning, she said she's in real estate. I said, doesn't matter. It applies to all.
Yeah.
You just have to know what are the risks and the threats in your industry. And I told her, your industry, if you look on it, was page 7 or 8, that's how people launder money. Buying property every day. Buying and selling and buying and I buy it, and then I sell it to my good friend here, and then he sell it to this good friend over there. You may know, you may not know, because I have a different lawyer from her lawyer. So as far as you know, you don't know that I know her,
Yeah.
but the money's just moving.
And the life out too was the insurance companies too.
Yeah, the like, yeah.
That was a life out for me.
And of course, tipping off is an offense.
Yeah, go to
Yeah.
pasture.
Once you know, you suspect that there's a suspicion of money laundering, only person you tell is the FIU.
7 years.
Yeah, go to jail.
You go to jail?
With this job, you go to jail.
Jail.
On this job?
Yeah, compliance, you go to jail.
Compliance goes to jail.
In the black box.
That's law.
Once you disclose to the MLRO though, if the onus is on her now,
Yes.
or
That's
the
right.
person.
So you
Yeah.
must, so
After
once
night
it
duty.
becomes.
So if she
Got
doesn't
it.
disclose it,
Once you have a
and we're
suspicion.
fine, still don't have nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, go to jail.
I don't know.
So that's a serious job.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, not having.
That'll make customers.
So you look under here where I have legal requirements, see what I just told you, on the second paragraph. You have to conduct a risk assessment to identify, assess, and understand the risk. You have to do it. Or offense. So whenever we as a country want investors to come in, we have to look at what's the risk. What market are we going into? What type of people do we want? What kind of qualifications should they have? Experience, wealth. All of those are criteria before people come knocking on our door. What are they gonna do for my people? How long are they going to be here? All of that. And then you decide from who you are. So is this the best one for us? Because if it's not the best one for us, we shouldn't enter an agreement with it. If we're not getting anything out of the deal. Okay?
Pros and cons.
Yeah. And then it says here that you have to identify the facility holder by means of verifying reliable independent source. So even though how this is written, it says that the financial institution, which means the bank or the gaming house or the money service provider, it's the same thing whether or not you're in real estate, you're in construction. Anybody coming to you, you have to do your due diligence. Because that's the only way we can stop money laundering. Because by the time it goes to the bank, okay, you were dealing drugs in your own town.
Really?
And you decide now, you visited the Bahamas, you say you want to buy a home. So nobody's onto you yet, you wire the money here. And then you say, I want some refurbishment, and I want a marble this, I want that, and you send in more money. You need to ask yourself, where's all this money coming from? If he say he's a doctor, he has his private clinic, he does plastic surgery, he's been doing this for 20 years, his clientele is, what a woman name, them people who's been on the TV.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Well, whoever, anyone of them. Then you could say, it's plausible. You see what I mean? But if he say, well, I have a little small community clinic, and so, you look it up, how many people live there? 5,000. It's not possible.
Do you still get, financial statements though, no matter what?
Financial statements, what you mean, for a company?
Like, no, well, I was talking in a customer, or from a customer perspective, just, like, if I'm opening an account and you say the same thing, I wanna buy a home, or like the source of wealth, you could write, they could say anything. In opening the account, do you still request financial statements?
No,
No way.
depends on the amount. Because remember
That's
now,
low risk
Yes,
kind of,
sir.
right?
yes, like a low
That's a
risk.
low
See,
risk.
when you get this,
Right.
based upon what you say in here, the years, where you worked, the position that you were in, you're able to tell exactly how much you made
Question.
and estimate how much you would have saved.
Question. How do you get around if someone was given a gift, a large gift?
Did they disclose it?
So I mean, I'm
He'll say
going to
when
the
my
bank.
father died, and
Show me some proof.
right, and he'll say he had a business, the name of the company was ABC Company, it fixed cars or unique cars, and his market was so and so, and when he died, he had a trust, and the trust, when it was wound up, was given between the three of us, and my share was this and whatever it is, and he has a lawyer to give you a statement to that effect, so you could fall back on the lawyer. Because sometimes these things have happened so long, and then the documents can't be disclosed.
Okay.
So he'll give you a letter from his attorney saying this is what happened and this is what's his entitlement.
So that's what you present to the bank.
Yeah. But even the same thing to you. If this person says here, this person who owns this company now says with the investment that I am worth $20 million. And you look on the CV and you see he only had 4 jobs. And on the 4 jobs, he was just the chief engineer here, the assistant engineer here,
Child, please
and
tell
the
me where
lowly
this money
waker.
come from.
Exactly. You see what I mean? And in the lowly one, he worked 10 years, and the assistant, he worked 5 years, and this one, he worked 2. I want to know where that money come from.
Gotta make sure everything on your ducks line up in the row.
Yes. Because it's not just you and I. It's all of them at risk. All your people behind you at risk.
It's a community.
The question is why? Why do they want to do that here?
That's my thing, it should
Why?
always be why.
The same when you open an account, you always ask people why do you want to open an account? Hold on. Hold on one second.
Now, you
Why?
can come
Why
and
you wanna
get rich,
invest
now
now?
you gotta see what you did to get rich, cause I need to get rich too.
But I have a
So
question.
me, I'm a Chinese here.
I was gonna ask you, I just gonna ask you that question.
How many
When the
Chinese are
Chinese
there?
come here, right? How do they get into the country to say, I come to visit, and they don't, so what they just say they come to visit? How do they get in to open up a shop? Cause I mean, who's gonna let them in to open up one food store?
But the thing about it, I think it's
They
just
all-
like just like this.
They all look out for one another.
Yeah.
Yes, they
When they
do.
go to the shop to buy, they
They
buy
buy
for
for
the
the
whole
whole
thing, and then they just split up whatever.
I know, but I mean, but how do they get into the country?
Right
That's
here.
my question.
Right here,
That's my question.
right there, right there, an investor, right there.
How do they get, cause how, but then how
What
do
you mean,
they,
if you're
how
legit,
could,
you have a legitimate investor and you do the,
Because I'm
do your
looking at-
researches, you can't stop them
You
if
know
you
why?
want them here.
but you know why I'm asking? Because I'm helping this with this investor now, and I'm seeing all of these roadblocks, so to speak, as to getting into the country, and as to do, even doing business in the country.
You listen
And-
to the news for immigration when they was investigating all those places up there?
Know what they say,
Okay.
what they say.
They're
Please
doing a
say.
bunch of
They is
Huh?
doing their nonsense up there, cause I go up
Money.
there with 10 applications and I give you $10,000 to each application.
And I
If
give
want
them this
5,
week.
my stuff approved, next week, got 20 people in there from
Okay.
China.
Some people who've been living
They
here all
love
their life, they
following,
haven't
that's
yet.
what they do.
That's
So
something
yeah,
I didn't know
they-
that, but
yeah.
Because I was
Who like
looking
it?
at it and I was saying,
Who like
Guess
it?
what? When they come,
They
they
do
don't
like
come
money.
out right away. They stay indoors for
A
weeks,
long
for a long
time.
time, and then gradually you see
Them
them
start to
coming
come
on
out.
one.
okay.
listen, I've been
These
in
maps on
Chinese and I
Carmichael
say,
Road,
wait now.
They
Where all these
upstairs,
come from?
they live.
Like, in the
Somebody
shop.
who's doing
Yes.
some work upstairs still says.
You ever hear
They have
Chinese
them
dinner?
open up into one big
I
area
heard
and
that,
they
I heard that
all
about
kind of
them.
beds set up.
Yeah.
And all of their still people.
Like a little dorm.
Yeah,
No.
that's how they
Ones
set
that
up.
working there.
That's it.
They say that's how
So
they
they on
set up.
shift, you know.
That's how they work.
They do
And they
shift.
all
But
work
how is
together.
their license to sell food,
That's
grocery,
right,
and
liquor.
liquor
But
in
that's-
one place? Cook food,
Oh, yeah, I
grocery, and liquor in one place?
And we can't get liquor if you
We can't
pay
get
me.
nothing.
But guess what? We don't support, you know.
No, we don't
You
take
watch
each
the
other.
trend. John Shea on Carmichael Road, further down by Gladstone Road, you know, Bahamians owned that building first. Then they turned it over, they leased it out to the Chinese.
Chinese buyer.
On any given Saturday, you go in there,
Crowd.
when the Bahamians had that occupied, you hardly find people in
That
there.
was a food store too?
There was a
Yeah,
food
it was
store,
a
a
No,
food
we
bakery
got the
and
property
everything.
next to it. I know the people, their parents own that property and would not sell to the Chinese.
So how they get the parking lot there?
The parents died, the daddy
Oh.
died a couple of years ago, and the children sell it to the Chinese.
That's it. That's always be. I'm trying to
Their
Because they
understand.
mom,
go
daddy
to
was
them
sitting on that for
pedestrian,
years
yeah.
and wouldn't sell that.
They say that's how they do it, you know.
Yeah.
Bahamians don't support. You go in
It's not.
mass now in the crowd. You like Bahamian
They
person.
sell
But
have
that's
it.
it, I tell them last week, I don't shop
Oh,
at
wow.
the Chinese.
I don't even like how it's
I'm buying nothing out there,
They
nothing.
sell snacks here.
Yeah.
Right anyway.
Okay. Your question was why?
She said, ask the question.
And that's my first thing, you always have to think, the first question should be why. Why you want, why?
Because my cousin came here and he rich now. So I will come too.
Or,
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
or, it's a country where anything happens.
Yeah, we was just saying that.
But you, that's it, that answers your question right there. You just
You
asked
just
it.
need money, all you need is money.
Anything happens, yeah.
Whatever
Money.
you want.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
corruption.
whatever
There
you
you
want.
Mm-hmm.
Because we was just discussing how the Chinese get it.
I just told you, leave them people alone.
Yeah. And we have to use the word foreigner.
Foreigners.
Yes, that's my better.
They can
That,
hear
that
us say,
represents all.
they can take over this is Chinese era.
Never.
Their movements,
It's silent, eh?
silent,
It's just see
with a
it.
purpose.
Mhm.
Okay.
They're not being conniving and cunning, you know.
No.
What you see is what you get. They're upfront with that. Notice how they taking over here.
They taking
And they
one
put
place
on
like
your
that, the one I
islands
tell
to
you
do
last
fishing
week.
too
See,
now.
I know she's a
Andrews or
hotel in the
something
back.
Down in Milwaukee.
I know the shares.
And in Andros, they think of
In Andros and then
Chinese
the same
restaurants.
thing
I saw
over
some
there.
more.
Yeah.
And they go sexy.
They're all over.
Right, and they begin.
And in one of them islands, they built a new dock or something too.
See, the,
There's
the
the
difference
views.
is that they see opportunity.
They do.
Because they don't
Islands,
see
they
what you see.
Yeah, they
And
just
they
clean
working
it.
together.
They work together.
They work.
But that's the mentality.
Yes. That's
But
what
it ain't
it is.
only
That's
them,
why they
it's
can grow.
an Asian culture because I had a
That's a
friend,
culture.
I had a friend who told me that she said they were the richest family in Dundee
Mm-hmm.
and she said all of them lived in one big house.
That's
Their
all they-
whole family lived in a big,
That's
big
right.
house. And they were the richest family and they would have Eid and they would have big celebrations, but everybody would pool everything together.
That's how you do
That's
it.
how they do
They
it.
pull it, and you know what the woman said on TV? She said, what she said? The preacher said he went to the laundromat, and so the woman said, "What do you do?" He said, "I am a preacher." She said, "How did you do?" So he said, "No, let me ask you a question. How do you do what you do?" He said, the Chinese lady said, "We put names. We all come together. We put all our monies together, and we
buy
decide." We put our names in a box and we pull out the names and we say who name comes out next gets the business and we have that person establish their
And then
business.
they go to the next
And when
one.
they reach to $100,000, then they put the pool
box
back in the
again.
box again and
Next
they
name.
pull out the next name and that one
So
gets
they
their
fund
next
that money.
business.
What a good, eh?
Mm-hmm.
See that?
But it's working together.
That's right.
And they stay with that person until they become a millionaire,
Y'all ain't
and
gonna
then they
do
do
that.
it to the next
You
person.
said
I thought.
T. T for remember the run.
Oh,
Come on.
And they sign an agreement to
And
say
first
that
of
they can
all-
stay until everybody in that
Yeah,
group
you stay.
becomes a millionaire.
Yeah, but you got that's patience. Cause I don't know how your name get picked first.
That's what we go right
That's
here.
how it started.
Yeah.
How your name get picked first? I'm not into that.
I ain't signing no
No,
contract.
I ain't
Good
sure
job.
you could be me next.
yeah, I gotta wait too long.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can become a millionaire.
No, I know. I mean,
We all
I.
do it with ASU, so it's the same thing, right?
Well, they run off with your money too.
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
They run off with your money too.
Right.
Yeah. So you see, section 7 sets out the same thing what we've just been saying right here. Everything that we've done on the board, that's right here, section 7. And that's required by law. Now, there's something that's called enhanced due diligence and then simplified due diligence. And simplified due diligence is normally carried out for clients that what we call low risk.
What page?
Or
Okay, I
medium
got it.
or medium low risk. Once they are high risk, then you do enhanced due diligence. So, you have to determine what is high risk. This business,
High risk.
high risk. Why?
Lot of investors, lot of players, foreign
No,
countries.
no, why? The risk.
Lot of opportunities.
Risk. The risks that are involved in this kind of business. The highest one means corruption. That's the biggest.
And incompletion.
Yeah, that's a different story. So, if you look at this, it's corruption. So enhanced due diligence. And the first paragraph I have here goes back to this right here. Each country tells you, yeah, what risks they see in the jurisdiction. Because you have international investors coming in, you need to see exactly who they are and what risks they bring with them. Because if they're coming from a jurisdiction that itself is high risk for corruption or money laundering, then you have to do enhanced due diligence. See, you have to examine as far as possible the background and the purpose of all complex, unusually large transactions and all unusual patterns of transactions which have no apparent economic or visible purpose. So, if I take it from you, not from a banking perspective now, but from a bank, you monitor transaction. If we're looking at it from your standpoint, then we go back here. Who are these people who you have backing you? And where is their money coming from? And it says here that you have to mitigate against the risk. So if we know from our research that one person who is going to invest in this section poses a risk, then we're going to tell you that person cannot be a part of that stage up front. You have to find somebody else. Because remember now, this venture capitalism thing is a new thing. And it's an avenue to launder money. Because you're going to the rich and they're investing in your idea for a high return.
Yes, and stakes in your business.
Very high return. That's if it's convertible. I could say at the end of the day, I only want to invest in stage 2 and I'm going to give you $10 million. How long will stage 2 take? You say 5 years. So are you paying me every year or at the end? So
Every
he
year.
ain't gonna do that. That means he need a different cash flow. He's not selling nothing in here, you know. He's not selling till down here.
Okay,
He only drilling.
okay,
So most likely he's gonna say, I'm giving it to you at the end of year 5.
okay.
Let me ask you a question. So if this set up the investors, the venture capitalists, we reject them all. We do the background, we don't want anything to do with them. Can she come with another, or squashing this whole thing?
Don't you bring another one?
Okay.
Don't forget now, it
Still,
depends
okay.
on how they structure it. How they structure it is he can have a different venture capitalist for each stage. Or he could just have one.
Because that's my question. If she has one major investment and we find that they shady when we do all the background stuff.
That's this one, the
we don't
main
want
one
to deal
here.
with them, period.
That's this one here, the front man.
Right.
Then
Just
it's
holding
gone.
there.
Right. But the front man could be good.
And it's just as investors.
It's investors. Because remember I say you have to take the mask off. Who are these people or these companies who are joining in? Because you have to be careful. Like she's saying, I could agree that I'm going to give you 10 million and you pay me back in the 5th year.
Right.
And it can have a clause that says, if I cannot pay, then I take an interest.
Yes.
And before you know it, the ownership has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can't pay.
So then you have a shady man, if a shady man
Not
gaining
even
interest.
even if it
you
is
don't-
legitimate, even if it is legitimate, the point is that this person here is gone completely, and these people here now own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
that's
that's
why
why.
you gotta do your due diligence.
That's why you have to do it,
on
yes.
on those people, because they can become the
Now,
principals.
different from in a bank. In a bank, we're constantly monitoring and looking at the clients. From your end, every year you have to go look and see if there's any negative news on these people.
I have to do that every year.
Yes. Yes. How would you know that in his hometown he's been arrested, charged, went to jail,
So I need a
paid a
compliance.
fine for $8 million?
So I need a
got
compliance
reduced time.
stamp.
Yeah, you gotta be on top of your game.
Yeah.
Every
they
year
do
you
an
gotta
annual
review.
You gotta do annual review.
Huh?
What are they doing now? Where are they? You can find out the man broke. Then
Going
that means
bankrupt.
then he could be calling in for his $10 million before time and want to take it at a reduced rate. Where you can find the money from?
This is a good class.
Because it's right in line with what you're doing right now. Hey. Okay, so the next one is PEC. Politically exposed persons. In the central bank AML guidelines, it defines who a PEC is. So these are people with political connections. So after you've gone through all of this in your mind, who they are, what are the risks, the threats, then you have to look at their position in their country. Are they a person of influence? So,
So are PEPs such a high risk because they have the opportunity for corruption?
yes ma'am,
I risk.
And
risk
then
to
the
there's
top.
another
they make things
question.
happen.
What if my
And some of them are the bad men,
great-grandfather
other
was
people.
a political person?
Say that again. What?
What if my great-grandfather was the political person?
If the money still flows from you from that source, then you are.
You know?
So let's just
Like
say,
that.
okay, so let's say your great-grandfather was,
That's the
the
bottom.
owner of Walmart.
Okay.
You still run an empire.
Still there.
It's still going on, you're still a pep, you're still the whole entity still has influence.
But
Yes,
you-
it is.
are we, because I remember doing some work and I was remembering with the politically exposed persons, are we strictly prohibited from doing business with them?
No,
Or is
they're
it just they're high risk?
Yeah.
They're high risk.
It's high risk,
They're high
okay,
risk.
just that you have to do a high risk
Mhm.
due diligence
When
on
will
them.
it disclassify? Okay.
When they have no more influence.
Okay.
So when they are not associated with.
Right, what if I
No
work
political
for,
feeling.
So
yeah.
what's the time frame on that?
There's no time frame.
You make your decision.
Oh, you make your.
You make a decision based upon the environment.
Ah.
So you hear someone say, I was the former
Sure.
commissioner of police,
Right.
Mhm.
right?
5 years ago.
But 5 years ago, So then you have to know the environment in which they work. So say if they were here, they were the commissioner of police, but now they're in Inagua, on their farm, they don't write no articles, they don't have no interviews, they don't talk with nobody, they don't do no government business, no government contracts, nothing, then they're no longer PEP. You see what I'm saying? Total isolation. But when every time you see there's a particular matter
They want
that's
to
tickling them, they want to talk,
Mm-hmm.
or back to being a PEP.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Once they
You
still out here.
you rear your head, you see?
In public.
Or
Involvement, yeah.
every time there's a government party, banquet or whatever,
They're right there.
everybody's on the list, but you always in the photos, you're still up there.
Wow.
You know, the certain people don't come out anymore, they just stay
Uh-huh.
home.
Yeah.
They don't want to go through all of that anymore.
Yeah.
I could think of a certain F&M lady that was a PEP for a little while.
She's no longer PEP.
Well, I've been watching news that often to know whether or not she is.
But those are the things you look at. Who's in the news? Where are they going? What are they saying? And that's what makes them a PEP. So when you look at these people here, and you go on the internet, you can see them standing next to Trump.
Yo,
One of them.
be good.
One of them people, one of them people on the side, they're standing right on the
Side
side.
Trump. Hold on.
He's a PEP.
I
More than that
guess-
too.
What's going on?
What's going on behind the mask?
I agree. I agree with that.
So it says here, for PEP, you should consider in mitigating your risks. And whether you decide to accept it or not, you look at the geography, the source of their wealth, the source of where the initial funds are coming from, and the rationale for what they're doing. So then that's what we were saying to you earlier, why come
you
here?
wanna do business.
Why do you want to do business here? And before we jump in bed with these people, we need to know, how does this industry run? Not just thinking about the end game, that's how much money we're gonna get. But how does it run? Because once you get into it, you can't now be saying, well, hold on, you need to stop now because I didn't know that at stage 3 this is what you do. Because it's not about the money at the end, because this is a whole process.
And what becomes of the land after you finish at the end when everything would have died down
What happened
and
if you
all
have
the
an oil
oil,
spill?
yeah, all the oil is gone. What happens to the land? Is it no longer?
And that's why you have the environmental assessment. Uh-huh.
Making sure this really
And,
good
and as long as we going through those stages, they should be done every year. Because as you move more and more into it, you get more impact. More things change. And do you know in other countries, when you do that assessment every year, you pay a fee to the government? It's different from them doing it now. You pay a fee so they make their money. So the next thing is, we talked about this already, filing your internal report. So in an organization, like she was saying, anyone in an organization could come and say, I feel there's something suspicious going on. But it's up to the MLRO to decide whether to file it or not. And that decision whether to file or not must be documented. I decided not to file because of this, because of that, or you file it. And then the law requires that there should be annual training on AML. So even in a transaction like this, if you look at the section about knowing your client, and you're looking at this process, at the end of stage 1 and the duration, I would ask them to confirm with me that they have adequate funding for stage 2. So you're not caught by surprise.
But I would do that for all the stages.
Yeah, but I'm
before
saying,
going
yeah.
into business
Mhm.
in any event, making sure
That
that,
they have the sufficient
and
money,
and contingent funds in case something go wrong,
and they have contracts,
and insurance.
insurance, and each contract has a contingency feature. Each contract, but each one of their suppliers have a contingency.
Yeah, put it on me.
And you need good insurance for your employees, they're underwater,
Yeah.
good insurance.
Rates is low up and down.
Because even though at the end of the day you may say it's the company, you're still in this jurisdiction. So people will look at it from an international perspective as how did you sign onto this agreement? And you didn't ask these relevant questions. What coverage do you have for your staff? What if this happened? What if there's a fire? What if somebody drowns? What if when you get to a certain part, the rock is so hard or so deep people have to go down? Do you have the
Get
equipment to go
trapped.
down? Or all of that? How you gonna deal with it?
Explosions,
Yeah. All those things.
compensation of family and.
Yes, all of that.
Yeah.
And when you do your environmental assessment is, we have, what they call it, migratory. This is a migratory region where whales and sharks come
Yeah.
a certain time of the year. So before you decide to stick your pipe down in that hole, is that the area where these sharks and those come for mating season.
But don't we have, what you call protected zones within the marine environment?
But I just finished telling you what happened to the people. The government gave them a part of the protected zone because the people told them that there was more natural resources right there.
That was a true story?
I don't make these things up. This is real. I'm not making it up. I would have said hypothetically, these are real. It happens.
So environment assessment every year, not happening with that particular project.
Take care of a $10 million school. No, it was not happening. It was done. See, all these things you have to think about, you know. All right. This more or less talks about the transactions and filing the suspicious transaction report, but I want you to look at section 15.2 of the Proceeds of Crime Act. Yeah, right here, right here. Right here. A person commits an offense if they fail to disclose of their capacity as an individual, firm, or sole practitioner. You see how they changed the wording? Before it used to be just the MLRO. That's more than that. An individual, a firm, or a sole practitioner acting in the capacity as an accountant, audit, taxation, advice or services, legal or notarial services, or as the MLRO, following the satisfaction of the three conditions, are liable of summary conviction, imprisonment for a term not exceeding 12 years, or to a fine not exceeding $500,000, or both.
I'm only an assistant.
You too?
You going to?
You too?
If you should have known. And then 25.2 sets out what's required to fill out the SDRs.
I get it, yeah.
You see the black box? Not as pretty as it used to be.
But my boss said the other day, she said, "Sure, she said you think the prisoners will say home sweet home when they when the sirens going on."
It ain't easy. So KYC, customer due diligence, best practices. So it doesn't matter like which industry you're in or whether you're in government. There are international best practices for everything. So whenever you speak about KYC, here, you always want a person full name. And you're doing business with an international person, so I would ask them if they have more than one passport. Because that's another thing that they hide. Do you have more than one passport? Then the references in here. From a reputable law firm, an accounting firm, bank or other financial institution. Now I've seen sometimes where the lawyer of the client does the letter of introduction, stating how long they've been their client, giving you an idea of the type of transactions they've done on behalf of the client, the size of the transaction, like more or less telling you similar to the CV, but based upon the services they have provided, whether or not this person is trustworthy, like speaking here, reputable, or the integrity of the person. So sometimes you get that from the attorney. Or sometimes, like, I'll tell you this one here too. Like say this person here now, they want to enter into this business. If their attorney have reviewed contracts before for similar projects, then their attorney can give them a letter of reference, saying that they were in this business, they did this contract with a company for this amount of money. And so you'll have an idea that guess what? Yeah, they kind of know what they're doing, but I need to go a little bit further. Copies of the passport, you get those already, right? Copies of the passport, they're not fake.
Well, we both not. No, they're not fake. I'm joking. I'm joking. You took the English, we took the passport and we copied it.
You have to check it. You have to check it. There are false passports, you know, all over the world.
Okay.
You have to make sure it is authentic. Every jurisdiction have, what they call it, unique identifiers on their passport, and you have to look for those. Because it won't be just someone signing somebody else's name. It'll be someone that isn't who they're supposed to be. Because they took their picture and stick it right in the passport, right, then give it to you.
They still there?
And you say, oh, that's Wong Wong Lee. But that's Ching Wong Wong.
You just said you 10 people alone.
They didn't call their names.
What you call you dead?
Call it government name.
Yeah. Okay, I would think you would ask them for a copy of the utility bill. That ain't necessary for you, but for bankers, we need the utility bill. The verification of address, where exactly you live. Now, no, and for retail clients, that is being waived. Because everybody know you live
Yeah,
around the
central
corner
bank
here,
did
there,
brought it up.
right, because of this, they don't want to have 3 layers of economy. Because if I know I need to have a utility bill, I don't have a utility bill because my little shack right there, I don't have no electricity, I still use an oil, or I have my drop cord running from the back house to here, so I don't have one. So that meant my money was not coming into a bank, and so they cannot rightfully say how much money is in circulation, because it's not accounted for. So they had to relax it in order to get the funds into the legitimate economy. Then you get ID. What else? Driver's license. Like they say, this person say, their passport say they're British. But in your interviewing conversation, he say he lives in the UAE. What would you ask him for?
Say it again.
His passport says he's British,
Uh-huh.
but he lives in the UAE.
Driver's license.
DNI or whatever.
Identification.
Identification.
It is identification card.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Now they're tricky. Every jurisdiction have different rules and different type of cards, depending on how long you stay there. So he got one of those that's 180 days.
But the card have expiration date.
But they have different types.
Mm.
So you got another type.
You have another type.
Wow, okay.
But I guess the other points you would need to know until it's time to move the money. That's which bank is that money coming from. If it's coming from one bank, or each one of the venture capitalists are sending their money in straight here, or whether their money goes from them to that one person, and then that one person brings it here. Because you have to know how the money is coming in.
What's the best way?
If the agreement is solely between them and us, I want it from them.
You want all the monies to be channeled to one person
Yeah.
and then,
Because my contract is with you. I don't have no contract with them.
Yeah.
Because then you giving them privity of contract for things that is not their business, because their contract is just to finance you.
yeah, you don't need them to know, you don't need them to know.
But what I need to know, based upon, because it is a venture capitalist, I need to know at the end of the day, based on your contract with them, whether there is a convertibility in that contract. Whether they're entitled.
Interest?
No,
Interest.
whether they're entitled to ownership
That's what I meant.
if you default.
That's what I was talking about,
Yes.
an interest in the business.
Yes, that's what I need to know, on default. Yeah, I need to know that. Yeah, they would, but you need to know that as a country. You need to know. Yes, these are the venture capitalists, yeah, they're okay, but in the event that you default, who am I
Yeah, so
to
you're doing
honest-
business with.
Right,
Yeah.
who am I laying in bed with?
Yeah.
I went in bed with you, and when I wake up in the morning, it was off.
So what happens if in the event, okay, let's say I default, my business 100%, and I have these all 5 stages with 5 different venture capitalists. And and let's just say, I default on the 2nd stage. And he would get let's say the value, how would that work? Or unless the contract doesn't kick in until,
It depends on how it's worded. If your capital does not kick in until your stage, then you wouldn't have given it prior to.
okay, so only,
But if all of them gave prior to, but the expectation that the return comes at a certain stage, then they all become owners.
that's what I was wondering. And that's why it's so important to do the due diligence, because they all become investors in the country.
Yes. The ulterior motives.
Give them the benefit of the doubt.
No.
There's some honest men out there. You don't believe that? You're a skeptic?
No. History proves it. Think about it. People who are rich now, how did it start? How?
Someone's inherited.
You all are
that.
not descendants of pirates, but y'all sure got it down back. Think about it. All kind of things. And it just move on and on and on and on.
Gosh, no.
And it's become a way of doing business. Do you believe it? So the next one is tax advice. If you see him start giving you push back on giving you a copy of his last annual tax filing, then you know something wrong. He has not paid his taxes. And then you could also ask him if he got tax advice on the structure. Because you have to realize whether or not it's feasible enough for him to enter into this arrangement in that way. Again, you don't want him to stop midway and say, I can't go no further.
Question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, in an investment like that, would the government require you to have all the funds that you need for all 5 of the stages available, or you need to see source of the funds reserved in escrow to cover the stages? What happens?
I would think you need confirmation that all of the capitalists have agreed at whatever stage.
Because what happens if someone dies?
That's a different issue. That's why you should have a contingency plan.
Because any money or stages could get.
Yep. If you don't have a plan
Especially
B.
Especially if they have monies held in trust for children and wife and XYZ.
And it depends, because if you're the sole owner and then you die, then what happens? It depends on how the actual M&As are set up. Because then it can go to your estate.
That's what I'm wondering.
Or you could have put the shares and assigned them to someone else in the event of your death.
How do you do that? Just
state it.
just state it.
Yeah,
In
the
the
event of
event
my
like
death,
that,
when my shares
go
to so and
go
so.
to the remainder shareholders.
Yeah, or to my brother, my cousin, my friend, whoever. And so the
But
money
how
is still
do we
coming.
get, how do you draft it in such a way so that the business, let's say I'm the investor and I wanna make sure that you have sufficient coverage in the event that you die, that my business won't fail. Cause you say, I'm conducting
Then
business
they'll
based
have to
on,
give you an undertaking.
okay,
They'll give you an undertaking. So in the event that they don't do what they're supposed to do, you have a legal document stating that this is what you said you were going to do. But it's a risk. It's a risk.
and that's what
So-
the country have to think about too,
That's what I
because,
said, going back to the country now, we as a country need to decide, are we willing to take that risk with all these people? Or do we want all of the money for the stages up front?
that's why I was asking you that question.
It's up to the country. And remember, having it all up front depends on how long these stages take. Cause I am not going to put my 10 or 20 million in escrow if my part of it is not kicking in until 10 years from now. That's
Unless
lots
you
of
get,
money.
unless you get the interest back, unless you
How you getting
you
interest?
could-
There's no flow.
unless you can know, and if you put it in
You
escrow,
slick, cause you want us to pay it. That's what you want. You call it, what's that C word you call it?
corruption.
No.
What?
Concession.
But what if you get the money up front in escrow, and we say we hold your money in escrow, but you won't gain the interest on the interest flows back to the initial investor, so that they wouldn't have a loss. Just, you know what I mean?
No. How that work?
So that they won't have a loss.
Who won't have a loss? Investors?
Yeah, the investors who the venture capitalists who
Yeah.
invested in the business. If they put their money on escrow without any, because nothing's gonna be happening for them until the next 20 years.
Or whatever, however long it takes.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's providing the government wants all the money up front. How are we gonna appease the investors? How are we gonna appease the investors? This don't look like a
Well, I'm
viable
not
deal.
appeasing investors. You are.
Well, help me.
You don't have sufficient money. Oh, no, this don't work like that. You come in here and you want, you see, this is what I call a C word, concession. You looking for too many concessions. And you could do the job or you can't.
Well, we'll put 50% down, or 50, we need
That's
to
how
work
I
a
need
deal.
to finish.
No, we put 50% up front and then sign a contract for the next 50. Or 80% up front and 20%.
I need to have a guarantee that there's a sure line of cash coming to fund that.
And you'll
Otherwise,
get,
I want an out clause with penalties.
and you'll get it from my investors. You'll get a guarantee from my investors.
With an out clause. With the option that if I don't want you all, I won't, you could go.
But not just on any discriminatory,
No. And I'm not giving you no money back either.
what?
Are we making any money?
No, not really.
Are we making any money?
No.
Are you just not down there drilling in a hole? What am I getting out of it? Besides a bunch of dead fish.
You get platforms and
But I can't use them after that. I'll have to put a clause that you need to go find another company who's gonna come and complete the job. What am I gonna do with the platform? What?
you own the interest, you could own the interest. Like you say, they could get interest in the business.
See, but that's a bigger question now because I've already vetted you and them. You defaulted halfway. Then it's no longer you, them, part of them, and a new them. The landscape has changed.
So that's another Bahama, eh?
That's what I'm saying. You need a solid company with a solid reputation
Yes.
who's done this before,
Yeah.
who have solid backers.
That's right. Cause you're gonna
Who
find
knows
out
right off the top to
it's
start
done
off.
before.
Now, if you decide there's some deposits down there by Cat Island and you want them to experiment because it's a small pocket, you can go down there. But if this is where the large pocket is, you need experienced people.
Yeah.
Like I say, I don't know who they are, I don't know where they came from, I don't know how long they've been doing it, but it don't sound like the way this business is run. The people in this business they have companies for every stage of this. Each one of these companies is for a different stage.
So am I to take it that the life of the country is based on the stage?
What do you mean?
After the stage is finished, does the company fold?
No, because you have another venture somewhere else. If this is the only venture, you got all your eggs in one basket, I just don't need you.
It's fair.
There you go, fair.
Okay.
Capiche?
Now you're getting the bigger picture? Okay. Now, where the Ultimate Bio is a listed company, let's just say this was a company that's on the stock exchange, then it gives you a different perspective because they would have already gone through all the due diligence to be on a stock exchange. So you have a comfort level that the people on the stock exchange, they know who they are, they know who the people are behind it, they know the policies and procedures and how it operates. I'm not sure what you're saying. For trust, of course, you have to know who's the settlor and who are the beneficiaries. By you knowing who's the settlor, if this was a trust on the top of here, the settlor could be the same person who owned this in here. He could have been one of the beneficiaries now. This person could be dead. And then you need to know the trustees. It depends, but what you're doing is not a trust. This is a question. Who introduced the company? Who introduced these people? That's key.
Fail.
It's key. Because who introduced the client tells you the quality of the client. So, if it was just that little rinky-dinky place down on the corner there, well, we know they don't know no one of importance. So that's to tell you from right at the beginning, don't want them. If they were introduced by a famous firm who goes out in this field, does placements, does work with other people, then you could say, all right, introduced by the right caliber of people. That's why you see this thing here called eligible introducer. Whenever you have people who are in that business of introducing clients to banks, you base the client, before you even open up any of these documents, on who that introducer is.
Okay. So the reputation of the introducer.
Yes. So we must have had an introduction, because if there was an introduction, we shouldn't have a contract off the top. Because no fly-by-night could walk in here and tell me they want to dig a hole in here. No. Someone had to have introduced that person, because if there was no introduction, there is no deal.
thought investors normally approach the government for whatever, if they're dealing with the government.
But normally, someone should introduce you. If you decided right now you wanted to make this outfit, and you want to establish a factory to do it, you think you just walk in the United States and say, this is what I want to do? Someone have to introduce you.
To the one of the best ones.
And you go to, and you find out, it's just like if you're in the movie business. You finish school, you're a good actress. You gotta find the best person who's gonna take your photo, to take it to the best film company to hire you. If you get one of them who is in a low standing, when you knock on the door of Hollywood, who is that out there, Mary? I don't see her. Whatever she brings is garbage.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? And so it's the introducer carries that weight. So if you don't know now, you should find out who introduced them to us. And what is their connection to them. Because the introducer could be one who would have gone out and say, guess what? They don't do no due diligence. Or they're looking for someone to do this. They don't want to spend too much money. Don't worry about them. Just give this one $5 million, give that one $3 million. Tell them they get it to the end of the day, and we can take the other $150 million and go.
So when I see an
You see what I
introducing
mean?
document, that means it's they're introducing
Business.
to us, okay.
Mhm.
Alright.
You have the introducer,
Mhm.
and then you have the external asset manager, which is different. You won't have that. So the external asset manager, he has a discretionary power to give instructions
Okay.
on the client's behalf.
Mhm.
The introducer just brings the business in,
Okay.
and he gets a fee for that, whether it's a
Okay.
flat fee or whatever, or percentage or whatever. So for hers, if we have headhunters out there around the world, because maybe each embassy may be doing it, saying, okay, we're looking for people like this. So they may have done it that way. To each one in the embassy, this is what we out here looking for. We trying to build this industry. And so based upon whoever they were in contact with, they would say, okay, Mr. So-and-so said that he knows our client. That whoever Mr. So-and-so is, he is the introducer. And so that embassy should be able to tell us who that introducer is. What's his client base? How long has he been in business? And what is his reputation where he is? Because if he is known as a shorty person, we don't want no clients from you. If he's known as one who only deal in those countries that are high risk or high corruption index and who makes it happen, we don't want you. So it's different ways you have to look at a client. He may be a good client, but it's who introduced him to you. Alright? And then I have a provision of nominee and authorized signatory. We did that already. And here I say if there's a nominee, you have to go behind and find out who owns that nominee company. And wherever there's a nominee, if you look on the certificate of incumbency or on the register of members and you see a company, and then you go behind to see who owns that company. But between the actual BO and the company, they have a contract. You can see a management contract, if they're gonna act as a director, or you see a shareholder agreement.
So between the BO and the company, there's a management contract.
And a shareholder's contract. Where for a fee, they use their company name as a shareholder. Alright, so we're at the end of that chapter. Had fun?
Always. Yeah, always.
You learned plenty, eh?
Yes, ma'am.
She wrote a whole book.
Real lawyer.
So next week, make sure you bring your legislation.
interested in.
No, it's good you brought it, but you didn't look at the chapter, but that's alright, you reading it?
A little.
Oh, that
Trying
don't
to do
sound too
this
good.
project thing, you know?
So you can see the client due diligence, the client requirements, is in every sector. Every sector. So if you want to, we're about to start intermediate zone. Intermediate compliance.
I wanna do basic first.
Intermediate, you want basic?
Yes.
Why you wanna go to, well, basic's finished.
Yeah.
Exam is Saturday.
Wow, really? He did almost forever.
That was only 4 weeks.
I only get paid chicken feet, I can't do 2 classes at once.
She is. She's doing 2 classes
You
at
can do a
once.
payment plan.
So you know she can do.
And AC too, so.
You could still do a payment plan and then when you just tell her, whatever, you give her $50 or $25 a week and I may sue at this date and I will bring the balance. She'll work with you.
They work with you very well.
But you need to get at intermediate so you can get a better understanding of what you're looking for.
So yeah.
You teach it.
A part of it, yes. Okay. So it's up to you.
Okay, y'all have a good week.
I will definitely do it. I can't say that I'll do it right now, but I will definitely do it.
But if this is what you're going to be doing, you need to know what you're looking for. Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then people will challenge you. Because they're saying you're going too far. It's not necessary. And you won't have a leg to stand on because you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. Because they're going to tell you you're digging too far. But you should have a leg to stand on when you